When I got an email from Dominique asking me to speak tonight, I emailed her back and said, sure, that would be great. But now as I'm standing here in front of you, I'm thinking, what did the people at the Pi Phi Rehabilitation Center do to me that would make me say yes to this? I'm not a public speaker. Dominique asked me to talk about the Pi Phi Rehab Institute and what it did for me. Trying to put into words what it did for me is impossible because they did so much. First, a quick background about me. I had a brain AVM bleed, which is similar to an aneurysm, on August 20th, 2006, 2 weeks after my honeymoon. What a way to start a marriage, let me tell you. The first night or two after the bleed, the doctors at St. Thomas told Meredith and my family that, one, I might not make it, and two, if I do, I may have severe mental or physical problems. I know they never thought that I'd be standing here tonight doing as well as I am. And I'm here to say that the Pi Phi Rehabilitation Center played a big part in my recovery. I have to take a moment to thank the doctors at St. Thomas for what they did. I know I wouldn't be standing here tonight without their excellent care. I'd like to thank Dr. Stephen Abrams, Dr. Robert Singer, Dr. Thomas Hunter, and Dr. Michael Kaminsky. While in the hospital, Meredith searched for a place for me to go to therapy. After researching several places around town, she picked the Pi Phi Rehabilitation Center, and she could not have picked a better place. I'm going to try and tell you what they did for me, and I thought the easiest way would be to talk about my experience working with their therapist. For speech therapy, I had Amanda Potter, now Amanda Hedford. I worked with Amanda the most because my biggest problem I had is my memory. In taking a bunch of tests, she tried to figure out what my remaining strengths with my memory were, and then tailor a program that best suited me. A lot of the memory strategies she taught me, I still use today. I also remember the tests she would give me to track my progress. I'm telling you, man, I hated those tests. But for all the time I spent with Amanda, she helped me tremendously with my memory. And Amanda had transferred to another department by the time I started my next round of speech therapy. And Dominique Harrington took over for Amanda and continued with great help and care. I went to Auburn, and as many as you know, Dominique went to Alabama. Even though I went to Auburn, she didn't hold it against me, and still gave me great care. And just to show off my memory real quick, I remember 2 weeks ago that Auburn beat Alabama. For occupational therapy, I had Colin Bonifiglio. Colin took great care of working with me on ways to be productive both at work and at home. I remember one session where we were in the kitchen area and he opened a drawer full of utensils and would ask me to pick out a certain item, like a can opener, for instance. And believe me, it was easier said than done at the time, just to pick out that utensil. But by working on tasks like that, he was one of the key players in training me to be a good husband. See, I joke around with Meredith that when I was, like Dominique has said, this happened 2 weeks after we got back from our honeymoon. And I joke around with Meredith that I was getting back to be able to help around the house. She took advantage of my injured brain, medicated state, and trained me to do all the chores around the house. It wasn't until a year later that I'm with some of my guy friends talking about it. You mean you don't do all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the ironing? I thought all husbands did that. But seriously though, Colin taught me great strategies that helped me as I tried to get back to working full time. For physical therapy, I had Jill Brown. And to be honest, I don't remember much about the time with Jill, but I'm sure she did a great job because I never saw when Meredith asked for a refund for those sessions. I also saw Dr. Deborah Tyson, or me and Meredith saw Dr. Deborah Tyson for counseling. And looking back, this was a very valuable service. Not only did Dr. Tyson teach us how to handle the trauma of a brain hemorrhage, she also taught us communication skills that not only got us through the tough times after the AVM bleed, but laid the foundation for good communication for a good marriage. And I also saw Christy Stanley, an occupational therapist, for driver evaluation. And I'm telling you, that has to be the most stressful job, riding around with patients. I know it has to be stressful because Meredith has left more than a handful of Lee press-on nails. Drive around with me. I joke around a lot tonight, but on a dead serious note, the Pi Phi Rehabilitation Center does great work, and without the help of everyone I've mentioned tonight, I hate to think how I would be doing today. And I have to take a minute to thank Meredith also. She was a rock throughout the whole ordeal. She never let me settle on where I was, and she always pushed me to achieve more. Peter Gammons, a baseball analyst for ESPN, had a brain aneurysm around the same time I did. And he wrote an article about the experience, and he said, quote, "Everything was held together thanks to the strength of my wife, Gloria. She went through far more than me," unquote. And I just cannot agree more with that. Meredith went through far more than me. I want to thank you, Meredith, and thank all the people who work at Pi Phi Rehabilitation Center, my employer, Joe Russell at Elon Polo, and thank you, all the supporters who support the Pi Phi Rehabilitation Center. What a great place.